This is Howard Losey. He's 70 years old, and I'm his wife, Charlene. And Howard has experienced a debilitating infection with valley fever, and he has been in and out of the hospital at Barrow Neurological 11 times this past year, and he's been fighting for his life. We are coming through. We're seeing light at the end of the tunnel, but he's still very ill and very fragile. And at this time we're receiving treatment here with Dr. Joseph for a high iron content. Howard, can you add anything here?
Well, when he first got the lab reports, went back to the medical doctor, their diagnosis is to remove 1 to 2 pints of blood a week.
A week.
For over a year. And I don't think I could physically, I'd be dead. And I've had friends that have went through chelation, and they just rave about it. So I said, well, let's look around here. So we started doing some research for that. They diagnosed me with valley fever, polychondritis, spinal meningitis,
and encephalitis, which is water buildup in the brain. It had gotten to the point where it had caused a high, the body was building up water in the brain because of infection, I guess. And they really didn't know what they were treating with so many antibiotics. They were looking for Lyme disease, they were looking for rabies, they were looking for everything in the world. And with all the antibiotics that they were putting in him, it was kind of disguising the valley fever, because that's a fungal infection, and actually the antibiotics was feeding the beast. So it took a while before they finally put their finger on what it was. Then we could go to another treatment that was doing some good. In the meantime, they have put a gadget in his head that's a shunt, where they're draining the fluid from his brain. And his life is in danger without this proper pressure that's being, because the brain was kind of cooked with the high fever, that it's not flushing itself properly. So it has to be drained off all the time with this shunt. We've had to go over a number of times and have it readjusted, because when it's not working right, he just loses his mind. And he goes down sick, he can't walk. So we're having a very delicate time walking, I'm trying to be here to monitor everything as close as I can for him. And I'm his helpmate. So that's where we are. And we're coming to Dr. Joseph to help us along with our healing.
We are talking about Howard, my patient, and I think that he makes for a poor video candidate, because he has 3 different problems, and that's kind of difficult to talk about and confusing to the public. But his main problem is valley fever, or coccidioidomycosis. And at this office, we don't use drugs to treat coccidioidomycosis. We use hydrogen peroxide intravenously, and it generally works quite well. Sometimes we have to go outside of the usual dose, however. We may give double or even quadruple the dose for a brief period of time to kill this organism off. Howard also has hemochromatosis chromatosis, or iron storage disease. And he told you that they wanted to take a pint of blood from him at regular intervals over and over and over again, and that turned him off big time. But in fact, they check your blood at regular intervals while they're doing this, and they don't harm you. It's sad to take away high iron, perfectly good blood and throw it away. But in fact, they will not accept the blood for donation purposes, although he would seem to me to be the perfect candidate for donating high iron blood. Here we use something called desferol. It's an iron chelating agent, and we add it to whatever IV he's taking, and it grabs onto the iron and helps take it out.
Good morning. This is Howard Losey, and I'm his wife, Susie. And Howard has been taking chelation treatments here at Dr. Joseph's now. This is our 17th treatment. And he's come a long ways. He's come stronger. We're very grateful that we have this opportunity to do this. We're going to stay with it for a while longer because we've got more to go, but it's showing great improvement, and I'm just very pleased with it myself.
Howard, would you like to add anything?
Well, they tried to take blood out of me the other day, and they stuck me in it. Got down toward the end of the hose, and it quit running, and they started taking it apart, and it had already clogged up.
Really?
It had clotted.
Wow.
So we're going to start drinking a lot more liquids and taking an aspirin, try and get it thinned out a little.
But Howard's on the mend. His treatments here have really improved his mental capacity, his energy, everything. He went out to the gun range to shoot his guns the other day just because he was feeling well. And so he's coming back. We don't want to lose ground now, but his own body is in retreat because it's knowing that we're taking away its iron, and so it's holding on to it. We've got to make it let go.
So how many treatments did you do with hydrogen peroxide, and what treatment is this on for your chelation?
10 hydrogen peroxide with desferol, and 7 now with chelation and desferol. We're taking them together.
And anything else to add?
Well, for exercise, I'm taking physical therapy 3 days a week. They got me on a hand bicycle, a foot bicycle, and a machine they call a shuttle. It's just basically to strengthen
The legs. His
arms and legs.
He hasn't been able to do that. It was just too hard on him. So he's back to doing exercise 3 days a week. And we're just tickled to death, and they're glad to see us back at the rehab. So
Wonderful. Well, how about we do another interview at the end of your treatment or after you finish the chelation?
okay.